Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and welcome to XCOM Long War Beta 15. So, Beta 15C is now out, and I was waiting for Beta 15C as it kind of fixes a few of the things that I was a little bit more dubious about with the previous Beta 15 iterations. I still think that it's maybe balanced in a way that makes it a little bit maybe less fun or something, but I do think that, it addresses a lot of the concerns I had, especially things like floaters being overpowered, etc. And me not being a great player would just get murdered in the early game by floaters and drones, and it would be a horrible, horrible experience. So, we're going to play Beta 15, but I'm not going to play it now, which is why this episode is entitled 00. So if you want gameplay, you'll need to wait a couple of days. The reason is, I want to get your feedback. So, just going to say what I'm going to do for the actual game, and then I want to tell you what I want your feedback on. So, if we go in, I'm going to be playing it on normal, because I suck. Advanced options, I will of course turn off the beginner voiceovers. I think hidden potential, I like hidden potential. Level up stats are randomized. I think that maybe sometimes it can be a little bit harsh in the very large boundaries around it, but I like it in general. Red fog, I've installed the Gaussian red fog mod. Red fog mod. Oh my god, that's difficult to say. Yeah, so the Gaussian red fog. The Gaussian mod means that if you lose a little bit of health, you only take a little bit of aim, and if you lose a lot of health, you take a lot of aim penalty. The idea behind that is that it's a little bit more fair than just saying, oh, you lost 20% of your health, which may only be 1 bar at the beginning of the game. Yeah, lose 20% of your aim, which could be a penalty of something like 20. Well, maybe not 20, but still a very, very large percentage. So the Gaussian mod kind of evens out. Bear in mind that this also applies to mobility as well as aim. So I love the Gaussian mod. It makes Red Fog a lot more fun to experience. Remember that it does apply to aliens as well, although not robotic aliens with... Oh, yeah, it does apply to robotic aliens below half health with Long War, so that's a very nice change, having the Gaussian ability there. Dynamic War. Now, this is the biggest thing. We're going to be playing Dynamic War. What Dynamic War does is it's a bit like the previous iteration where you could have the, I can't remember what it's called, the second wave option where you could have a shorter war, not so long war. But Dynamic War is variable, so I've got it set on the default of 0.5, so it should be a half-length campaign, but, and here's the important part, it doesn't cap number of missions and stuff, and some things aren't linked to it. And before 15C, Beta 15C, it wasn't broken in the sense of it didn't work. It did work. Balance-wise, it was completely broken. You'd have something like people who were reporting having like 5 or 6 terror missions in a month. Normally in a month you could barely handle 2. 3 would be like insane. 5 is just not possible. Even if you complete them all, the panic you take from them just by completing them even really well will be over the top. So hopefully they fixed that. They say they have. It might still be a bit iffy, but we'll find out. And that's why I'm making sure that I'm not going up a difficulty or anything, and I'm sticking on normal. Because otherwise I might be tempted, but I'm going to stick on normal. Also, I haven't played it in a while, so I'm probably going to be rubbish. We want Commander's Choice. Now, Commander's Choice is now a second window. I mean, it used to be a mod, and it allows you to pick between the super classes. So, or, no, entirely? Is it entirely? Yeah, you may pick between all the superclasses, yeah. So you may pick between the superclasses, which means that you can pick between things like the Rocketeer Grenadier, or the Scout Sniper, or the, what's the other ones? No, it's Engineer Medic, it's Gunner Rocketeer, Scout Sniper, Infantry Assault. And you can pick between them. So you don't get a guy automatically assigned to one of those superclasses. You can choose. And I kind of like this, and of course it gives you a bit more options, and it makes the game basically easier in a sense, because you get more ability to go, right, this is a really good aiming guy, I don't want him randomly assigned to something crap, I want to pick him to go here. I just like it, it makes more sense, it's less gamey, and the Long War devs have several times said they're trying to keep gamey things out of the game. They don't want things like XP numbers to be visible in lots of places, because it's not meant to be gamey. Problem is, I kind of disagree with that in that it's a very strategic game, so you actually do need information. And, the Commander's Choice perfectly plays into this. It's less gamey, because you can go, right, oh, you haven't been randomly assigned to rockets, and I can't change you. No, Commander's Choice allows you to change, so I love Commander's Choice. I'm definitely going to go Commander's Choice. Aiming angles is tempting, but I'd have to tweak it. It's a little bit iffy about whether I'd go for it, but I probably won't, because what happens with aiming angles is it gives you a bonus to aim the closer you are to flanking an enemy, instead of just going, you're 90 degrees to them, aim bonus. You're 88? Not good enough. It basically goes, right, you get a sliding scale of more aim as you get further around. But I don't think the maps are built for them. I don't think the maps really allow for that, and I think that occasionally when you get enemies coming in from all sides on the map, it will absolutely decimate XCOM, whereas XCOM don't ever get that opportunity. XCOM are, in effect, always fighting on the defensive in that sort of regard. So I don't think I'll be using it. So I'll have all those enabled. And this is what I want to get your opinions on, right, guys? And I know we're 5 minutes into a video, and this is mainly what I need to ask about. I need to ask about the base location. So those of you who haven't heard about Beta 15, although I imagine that's not as many as you, as it would have been when I first looked at should I cover 15A, you now get a base location, and when you put your base, you get a country bonus. You don't get the continent bonus. So nowadays, instead of getting a free continent bonus and then going to a new continent, you have to own the continent you start on. What this means is, we'll start with a free satellite in that continent, and we can build towards that continent bonus. But we can also get a country bonus. And I'm going to go through these country bonuses, and I'll give you a general idea of what I'm feeling towards them, but I'd like you to let me know, you know, in the comments below, sort of any sort of tactics you have, particular locations, what you think of them, and, you know, maybe I'll even put a little straw poll or something in the comments as well, and see and get your votes for which place I should start in. So, we've got stuff like Argentina, which gives all soldiers get an extra 5 will. Argentina, I'm not a massive fan of that one. It's a pretty blanked slate there. 5 will, Australia, all soldiers receive 5 extra ability points on stat rolls upon recruitment. So, 5 ability points are shared, so, you know, that could be will, aim, I think it's something like 2 for an ability or something, and then it's a lot more for like a hit point or something. I think it's all 5 for hit points, something like that. Basically, it means that you get better rookies when you recruit them. It's reasonable. It's actually pretty damn good. Problem with that is you start in Asia, and you know, foundry projects have extra cash, ally and lyrium, cost reduced by 25%. Very nice. It's a very good bonus, especially given that in 15 there's a lot more emphasis on these resources, and they're a lot higher in you know, requirement. But with the 4 provinces, and the same applies, by the way, for Europe. With 4 provinces that you need to cover, that means that you'll need 3 uplinks to be able to cover it, or, you know, 2 uplinks and a satellite nexus. You can't do it with 2, and this means that it'll be, you know, an extra month, probably minimum, maybe probably a month and a half, until you can get a continent bonus. So there is a bonus to starting with, say, America or Africa, because you can, or South America, because you can get the continent bonus pretty early on. Otherwise, we're looking at delaying later. Although these continent bonuses are definitely better. Jungle Scouts, early armors, tac vest, tac, kestrel, phalanx, and aurora have an additional small item slot until technical ring is deployed. This is an incredibly powerful start, right? This is a really, really powerful start. Really powerful. Like, really powerful. An extra item? This means you can carry an extra item. And early in the game, before you get tactical rigging. It really helps with the early game. Problem is, it doesn't really help after the early game, although an early start will translate into a better late game, but not a lot, but certainly does. Tactical rigging is a very powerful thing, and having it early, this is a very good bonus. Power facilities cost 30% less to build and maintain. This is the bonus you get South America. It's not great. Frankly, that's not very good at all. So the only reason we'd really be going for Brazil is this bonus. We'd forget the rest of the continent. I mean, you probably want to lock it down since it's easy enough to lock down, but other than that, not very good. The starting bonus is amazing, though. Plus 15 bonus to research credits for interrogations. Meh. No bonus. Canada. XCOM HQ starts a laboratory and workshop already built. It's pretty baseline okay. Aircraft and aircraft weapons cost 25% to purchase and maintain. That's the continent bonus for America, and will be the same between all the American ones. It's okay. You know, it's a pretty decent one, but actually I'm a bit more prevalent to say the new European bonus. But America's only 3 provinces, which means you can do it with 2 satellite links, which means earlier in the game you'll get this, and earlier in the game you'll get the 25% cheapness. So you've got to take that into account. Canada, start with 4 corporals in the barracks, 1 of each superclass. Honestly, don't think that's very good. It will level off after, say, the first month and a half. Corporal is only 1 above Lance Corporal. I don't care for it that much. It's not terrible, but it's not, anything amazing. Start workshop and repair bay already built. 100% bonus for alien corpse and wreck sales. Bear in mind that I don't think that means anything from like a UFO that you sell. I believe that means just things like a cyberdisk wreck. So you're looking at a little bit extra money there. Not very much. I don't think it's that good. 50% reduction in Gmod, meld and cache costs and modification time. Fairly reasonable, but with the increased cost for a lot of the projects and stuff, and also for mechs, you're going to be tight pressed anyway. The reduction helps, but it's still going to be a case of gene mods are going to be the luxury, not anything that will make a massive saving on. Fatigue from Sci-Fi's gene mods off the ranks reduced by 50%. It's okay. I don't think that's going to make a massive difference. Start with the Advanced Repair Foundry project, which grants fast repair for aircraft, mechanized units, and damaged soldier gear. That's a very nice one. That is a very nice one. It's an early Foundry project. It's a free Foundry project. Laboratories workshops cost 50% to build and maintain, by the way, for a content bonus. It's a reasonable content bonus. France. Country item requests occur 4% faster. Fulfilled requests provide 4% additional defense, and Intel scans cost 40% less. That's a kind of an interesting one. Getting 4% faster and then 40% more defense for countries is pretty nice. It should keep panic down. And Intel scans costing 4% less, is useful. I don't know really how much Exalt are at the moment influenced by Dominate War, so it'd be interesting to see if that would be worth it or not. But, maybe. The content bonus for Europe now is a fairly nice monthly XCOM funding increased by 20% across the board. Monthly funding increased by 20%. The reason that I love this is if you check out America with 25% cheaper aircraft, etc., that's 25%, 25% cheaper aircraft, 25% cheaper to maintain aircraft. You could get 20% monthly increase entirely from this. It's really good. But of course, remember that, not all your money comes from, your monthly funding. So maybe not. I do tend to think that America is probably the better start because you can do it so much earlier. Asia's not bad, but it is 4 provinces. What's the one after France? Foreign Legion. Start with 20 additional soldiers in the barracks. Remember, that is, $500 worth of soldiers. It's very good. I wouldn't say it's, forgettable, but it will have very little impact after the beginning of the game, other than the fact that we won't need to buy any new recruits. You'll basically forget it's there, but it is pretty useful, I'd say. I'd say that's actually a better one, but it doesn't appear to be that good, because it's just, more rookies. But I'd say it's a pretty good one. Germany. HQ starts with Foundry already built. It's good. I mean, earlier Foundry projects slightly, and the fact you don't have to buy it. I don't think there's anything more to say about that. It's quite a reasonable one, but it's just baseline reasonable. It's not amazing. Facility construction time reduced by 33%. I mean, it's okay, but in general, facility construction time reduced by 33% doesn't really do much for us. It's okay. Neopans, 50% reduction in cash, alloy and lyrium required for mech and shiv primary weapons. Pretty good, but the weapons have never been the biggest outlay of cost. If it was suits or something, it'd be a really big thing, but we're talking about weapons which do tend to stay around for a little while. I'm not massively a fan of that one, even though it looks pretty good on the surface. Germany, none. Nope. India. Start with 2 additional interceptors in your home base. By the way, one of the first things you do in XCOM is, of course, build more additional interceptors, so this is basically free money right there, and earlier. And you start with the Elerium Afterburner Foundry project, granting extended interception time. Pretty good. It's not a favourite upgrade, but it's definitely a good start. XCOM HQ's 3 additional steam vents. Now, the best power in the game comes from steam vents and the Elerium reactor, but the Elerium reactor uses Elerium and costs money and can be set up in the late game. Steam vents for geothermal early on, wow, it's really good. This is actually a really good start. Although maybe the argument could be said that it maybe end up with too many steam vents. The best part of it, though, is that there's more likely to be some up the top that are accessible. And that I like. That's a very good start, but it is Asia. Ghost of the Machine. Shivs receive an extra 10 aim, and you start the campaign with 2 Shivs in the barracks. I know people like ShivCom, but actually Shivs are a bad thing because they can't gain experience. They take experience for kills away from people who need it to level up. Shivs in general aren't going to be particularly good. They're a good crutch when you need it, but if you use them too much, you're never going to be walking again. I don't fancy this as an early game thing because it will make you rely on using Shivs too much. Start a Master Sergeant of a random class on your roster. No, because it will make the Master Sergeant get all the kills. It's a good crutch in the early game, but it would be way too much of a crutch. No, especially in the early game. I'm not a fan of it. I know some people are going to be like, oh my god, a Master Sergeant, but no. +5 aim for shivs and mech troopers. Pretty good. +5 aim for mech troopers is pretty good, but Beta 15 really makes mech troopers less good overall. It nerfed them, and it made them a lot more expensive, so I'm not a fan of relying, entirely on mechs, which, our starting bonus would be on this one. No bonus. Mexico, start of 500 extra cash. That's a reasonable start bonus, but, that's all it is. It's a pretty base $500 of cash, because apparently we're benefactors of some sort of drug lords. 500 cash. Start the campaign with an illuminated gunsight small item. 20% bonus to psionic training chances. Also receive +1 mobility. Good. And, that's pretty reasonable. I mean, +1 mobility, you'd forget it's ever there, but it would make a big difference for the campaign. 50% reduction in side training time. No bonus. Start of enhanced avionics foundry project, granting +10 to hit during air combat. Pretty nice, but it is just a foundry project, which you can get later, but it is pretty nice. Start of an additional satellite uplink, and all satellites cost 50% less to build. This means that you can have, very early on, 3 satellites, because you'll have the one you start with, and you can get 2 that cost less, and you have the uplinks to support them. But if you start in Europe, you need 4. You only have 3, so you'd still need to go for that 4th one. But cheaper satellites is good, and satellites do get shot down a lot, and you can't always stop it, so that's cheap as well. It's not bad, but the problem is, I don't think it's a long-term thing. I don't think it's going to cost much. You'd maybe get 500 extra cash in an entire year, so, meh. South Africa, start with Alien Metallurgy and Advanced Salvage Project, bonus alloys and weapons fragments. Pretty good. Bonus alloys early is nice, you're always strapped for alloys, and weapon fragments are a lot more important than Beta 15, but overall, it's still projects you'll get later. But, it has to be said, it's still a reasonable, pretty good option, actually. All soldiers receive +1 hit point from South Africa. Nice, hit points are always good. United Kingdom, Special Air Service, SS. All soldiers gain +3 aim. Now I like this one. +3 aim is basically the equivalent of having a laser sight on you, with the ability to add a laser sight. +3 aim is pretty good. By the way, +3 aim is the new +5 aim. Aim bonuses were nerfed from 14 to 15, so the laser sight that would have been 5 in 14 is now in +3. So this is the equivalent of a laser sight, and the fact that you can stack laser sight on top is pretty good. +3 aim is very nice. It seems negligible. It's quite a nice bonus there. Or, United Kingdom, start with the Penetrator Weapons Foundry Project, increasing interceptor weapons. Again, it is a bonus for, effectively having a, Foundry Project early. Not gonna be the best thing, but certainly useful. Sandhurst, 3% reduction in ranks required to unlock the Officer Training School project. Good. They will drop off later in the game when, you've unlocked them all, but it is nice to be able to get a bigger squad early. Bigger squads early are very, very powerful. United States Special Warfare School. Officer Training School projects cost 90% less. This is powerful. This is powerful as hell. 90% cheaper? 90% cheaper for anything in the Officer Training School. Really strong. Really, really strong. And it also comes with a bonus of starting in America. So you get to have the 2 satellite links, which means 3 satellites, which means the entire American bonus. It's a very powerful upgrade, but it is the most powerful one. And maybe it wouldn't be the most fun one, but it is certainly, I think, the most powerful one on the map. Although you could say it's debatable, since all it does is save you some money, and other ones can give you, more tangible benefits like +3 aim, or, more general. That's not even tangible. Shine Mountain, XCOM HQ starts with an elevators all built, all the elevators built, and excavation costs reduced by 50%. It's nice, generally it's saving you money. With Ways. And I found this amusing mainly just because of current political discourse, or whatever you want to call it. The current social setting, the current cultural climate, political climate, if you will, I don't know. But this used to be a bonus, or, this name for this bonus used to be on South America. But given the recent stuff about the CIA actually doing torture and stuff, it's now in America with Ways. 75% reduction in time to complete autopsies and interrogations. I mean, it saves time on research, but I don't know. I don't think it's particularly amazing. And we're done. Let me know what you'd like in the comments below. If I remember, I'll try and put up a straw poll as well that you can go vote on. I am interested to hear what people say. I won't necessarily go with the things most voted for, but I'll pick out the top few, and I'll also take into account if anyone has like a really cunning plan or, you know, a really good justification of why a certain option is amazing. I'll look through the YouTube comments for that. So, you know, let me know. And, you know, you can actually, it doesn't have to be just gameplay reasons. You'd be like, I really want you to go with somewhere because of some reason, but if you justify it, then let me know. Cool. Thank you very much for me, you know, listening to me go through this entire ramble. But I decided that since, you know, it's going to be such a big pick as our starting country, and it's going to be a fairly big bonus, I thought I might as well, you know, farm it out to you guys, see what you think. So, I guess I'll catch you in episode 01. And a quick note to those of you who are wondering about the name list. The name list I do for these is always imported from the Patreon name list. So everyone on the Patreon list who is subscribed and paid up or whatever for the whatever tier it is gets onto the name list. And then occasionally I add people who offer, you know, insightful or particularly funny comments from the comments section, or maybe the same on Twitter or whatever. That sort of thing. Or maybe some of the top interacting people with the channel or whatever my website thing says. So occasionally I do that and just throw them in for good measure. So if you're wondering and you're on the Patreon, please go check out if you are actually on the correct tier, because I know a couple of people are paid up on different tiers that don't get that, so just go check that. And if you're actually wondering how you can get on the name list, there you go. Post helpful comments, post insightful comments. Don't post, can I please get on name list? Because that doesn't work, because everyone would post that, and then I would have too many people. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in episode 01 shortly, TM. Stay shiny.